Good morning. So welcome back to our lecture room, no? And dito rin sa ating segment na your question, my answer portion. Alright, so ang sasagutin natin itong katanungan ni Theplace, no? Ang tanong niya, sino po ang may karapatan sa bangkay ng namatay na annulled na at may kalibin na hiwalay sa asawa pero hindi daw legal? Sino po ang may desisyon sa libing? Legal na anak sa una or illegitimate child? And may say po ba ang kalibin? So yun ang tanong ni Theplace, no? Pero medyo magulo kasi bangkay ng namatay na annulled na or may kalibin tapos hiwalay sa asawa pero not legal. Pero I will assume hindi sila legal na hiwalay tapos naghiwalay lang tapos nagkaroon ng bagong kalibin at namatay ang lalaki or ang babae na yun. Alright, so that is the question of Theplace at galing ito, na-post niya ito doon sa ating Halloween special na topic natin, no, yung about sa mga balo na ang sabi dito, i-liquidate nyo muna ang property nyo bago nang yumaon yung asawa bago po kayo mag-asawa ulit, no? So, ayan. Oh, sandali. Bakit nandito ka? Wala na. Tapos ng Halloween. Chipi na muna. Alright. So, I'll see you again after this very short intro. Okay. So, welcome back. No? And let us proceed with our discussion. So, yun nga, merong bangkay and pinag-aagawan po ng dalawang babae. Isang common law wife, isa namang legal wife. Okay. Actually, decided na ito, issue na ito sa Supreme Court, no? This was decided by the Supreme Court in Flora Balino versus Rosario Adriano et al., Government Record Number 182894, April 22, 2014, en banc. Meaning to say, lahat po ng justices present decided on that case. And sa Supreme Court natin sa Philippines, there are 14 associate justice and 1 chief justice. So lahat sila nag-quorum nito para i-discuss ang issue for one single issue. Ito po, who between the common law wife and the legal wife is entitled to the remains of the deceased? Sino daw sa common law wife at sa legal wife ang entitled doon sa mga labi nung namatay? Yan ang sasagutin natin at yan ang i-discuss natin based doon sa decision ng Supreme Court. Now, take note that this is a government record. Allowed po tayo i-discuss po ito in public. Although, out of respect doon sa namatay at sa mga characters at mga pangalan ng mga tao dito, hindi ko sasabihin ang kanilang pangalan. But you could research that, no? Sa internet, itong Flora Balino versus Rosario and Adriano. Nandyan po yan sila sa internet. Alright, so, but before that, I want to emphasize na ito pong corpse, no? Ito po siya, ito. Hindi po ito siya property. Okay, sabi ng character natin, no, it's not a property. Now, actually, in Balino versus Adriano, yung sinabi natin na case, no? Sabi ng Supreme Court that the corpse of an individual is outside the commerce of man. Ibig sabihin, outside the commerce of man, hindi siya pwede ibenta, isang pwede siya. I-treat siya as property. Only those properties that can be legally be subject of commerce of man, yung mga lupa, bahay, and everything, and other properties. No? Pero ang corpse, hindi daw siya pwedeng ma-include sa commerce of man. It is outside the commerce of man. Oh? So, hindi siya pwedeng gawing propiedad. Okay. And sabi din ng Supreme Court, the law recognizes that a certain right of possession, yun ang maganda dito, may right of possession over the corpse. So, ibig sabihin, nire-recognize ng batas na hindi man ito siya property, pero merong right of possession, no? For purposes of number 1, decent burial, and para i-exclude or yung ibang tao na nag-i-intrude para angkinin yung labi na wala namang legitimate interest para doon. Ayan. And sabi ng Supreme Court, parang this is a quasi-property right. Quasi meaning parang property right na, okay? Seemingly a property right. But technically, the corpse is not a property. Okay. Now, proceeding, ang quasi-property right daw na ito is yun pong lumabalabas doon sa quasi-property right na yun na meron pong duty yung those obligated by law to bury their dead. Yun po ang parang property right, quasi-property right nyo sa bangkay or sa remains or sa labi or sa corpse. Okay? Na dahil dyan, meron kayong karapatan na at obligasyon sa batas na ilibing yun siya. Ayan. Kaya quasi-property right. And it authorizes them also to take possession of the dead body for purposes of burial, ililibing, and to have it remain in its final resting place. Okay, yan ang sabi ng Supreme Court. And what else? Ito pa. And even to transfer it to a proper place where the memory of the dead may receive the respect of the living. Okay, so parang sabihin, pwede ilibing sa sementeryo. Yan. Para yun po yung proper place, no? Where yung memory of the dead may receive the respect of the living. Kaya nung last Holy Week, bisita tayo dun sa cemetery and you are giving the proper respect that the deceased, no, is entitled to also. Alright. Now, in fact, sabi sa prelegaldictionary.com, no, for purposes of burial, daw, the corpse of a human being is considered to be property or quasi-property. Yan. Pareha sila ng statement ng Supreme Court, no? The rights to which are held by the surviving spouse or next of kin. This right cannot be conveyed. Hindi pwede benta yung karapatan mo na ilibing mo yung patay, no? That is your obligation and duty under the law and does not exist whilst the decedent is living. Yan po si Legal Dictionary, thefreedictionary.com, no? That is their link below if you want to view it. Okay, so ang tanong dito ngayon is that ano pong batas ang nag-govern? Meron po bang batas? Surprisingly, meron pong batas, no? And it is the Civil Code of the Philippines under Article 305. Ang sabi ng batas is that, ito, basahin natin, yung duty and the right to make arrangement for the funeral of relatives shall be in accordance with the order established for support under Article 294, which was amended by the Family Code now under Article 199. So, ibig sabihin, sabi ng batas is that kung yung may karapatan daw maglibing is yung order of reference, in the order of reference na obligadong mag-support. Okay, sino-sino ba yon? Number one order, pinaka-primary, pinaka-high, pinaka-mataas is the spouse. Number two, descendants in the nearest degree. Okay, kung sino ang oldest, kung sakaling maraming descendants. Kung wala, yung ascendants in the nearest degree, at yung oldest pa rin. And the brothers and sisters, kung wala yung tatlo. Okay? So, take note, ang pinaka-number one sa apat na yan is yung spouse. Which means, that spouse, ano ba yan siya? Common law spouse or the legal spouse? The answer is the surviving legal spouse. Okay, so that already somehow directly answered your question, the place. Pero, huwag niyo muna i-stop, i-click yan at i-stop ang video natin. Kasi mayroon kasing, itong case na ito, may mga arguments kasi si common law wife na in-argue niya sa Supreme Court. Nanday lang, pakinggan niyo muna arguments ko at sinagot naman ng Supreme Court ang mga argumento niya. Huwag niyo munang i-stop yan because this is very interesting. Now, so anong nangyari nga, sabi nung legal wife, wow, ako ang nagwagi. Kanta pa siya. Yung kabila naman, umiiyak, ako ang nalugi. Okay, yan. Sabi ng Supreme Court, in-explain naman ng Supreme Court, no? Ganito yan. Ang sabi niya, yung batas kasi na na-cite natin kanina, Article 305 and Article 199, simply, it confines yung right and duty to make funeral arrangement to the members of the family to the exclusion of one's common law partner. Excluded daw talaga yung common law partner. So, iyak yun si common law partner. Kasi yung nangyari po kasi dito ganito. In this particular case, 20 years na hiwalay yung lalaki. And actually, he was a lawyer, no? 20 years na silang hiwalay ng asawa niya na legal. And then, meron na siyang bagong kinakasama. Nung bagong kasama niya, 20 years na rin silang magkasama at they love each other. May karoon sila ng anak na take care of each other. So, it happens, no? That is happening right now in our community. Nangyayari po yan siya. So, walang nangyari na annulment or nullification of marriage. Basta, naghiwalay sila ng legal wife niya, then nagkaroon siya ng common law spouse. Namatay siya ngayon. Nandoon siya ngayon sa poder ng kanyang common law spouse. At yung common law spouse, inilibing siya ngayon. Sabi nung legal wife, nung nalaman niyang namatay at may wake, pwede, antayin mo kami, wag niyo muna ilibing. Ang ginawa ng common law spouse, sabi niya, I don't know the real reason, basta nilibing niya without waiting for the legal spouse. Kasi matagal daw dumating, etc. No? At saka, saan niya po nilibing? Nilibing po niya doon sa family mausoleum ng common law spouse ng family nila. Sabi nung wife, bakit mo nilibing doon? So, ang ginawa nung legal wife is that filed the case in court and said, I have to exhume that body. Tanggalin, hukayin niyang body, Your Honor. Hiningi niya sa korte na hukayin yan at ilipat yan. Dahil ako may karapatan, dahil ako ang legal wife, ilipat doon sa aming family cemetery. Ayan ang issue. Object din yung common law. 20 years na kami magkasama. Yan ang mga gusto niya. Yun, no? So, explaining, sabi ng Supreme Court nga na alam na nyo na ang legal wife po ang may karapatan because it excludes now the common law partner. And ang sabi ng Supreme Court pa, ang Philippine laws does not recognize common law marriages. Wala po yung recognition, no? Kung may alala po ninyo yung live-in partner na storya natin, ang sabi ng Supreme Court dito, while it is true that our laws do not just brush aside the fact na may mga relationship na nangyayari sa ating society today and that they produce a community of properties and interests, di ba? Pag yung mga live-in, which is governed by law, the authority exists only in case to the effect that yung magkaroon sila ng co-ownership, but it requires that the man and woman living together must not in any way be incapacitated to contract marriage. Ibig sabihin, okay lang yung co-ownership issues na yun kapag both of them are single per se talaga. Hindi yung may asawa, tapos nakaiwalay, nag-live-in. Hindi yun. Yun ang contemplation ng batas na parang sinasabi ng Supreme Court na, yes, that's true. We recognize co-ownership. But this time, iba ito. Kasi meron siyang legal na asawa, hindi pa siya na-annul or na-nullify ang marriage nila at meron siyang kinakasama. Excluded talaga si common law wife niyan. And then, tayo pa ng Supreme Court, it is clear that the law, yung 305, Article 305 at saka 199 sa Family Code, gives the right and duty to make funeral arrangement to the surviving legal wife. Yan. Klaro na po, no? Now, ito ang argument ni common law wife. Sabi niya, sandali po, Your Honor, I want to explain to you, verbal wish po niya nung buhay pa siya na ilibing siya sa mausoleum namin, sa family mausoleum namin. Hindi sa ibang lugar. Well, the general rule, sabi nga natin is that ang funeral shall be in accordance with the express wishes of the deceased person under Article 307 of the Civil Code. Sabi ko sa Civil Code doon, kung meron siyang express wishes, sundin natin yon. Kasi yun nga ang final wish nung taong mamamatay. No? So, kung meron siyang wish na ganun, ating tuparin, ating sundin. Pero sabi ng Supreme Court, okay, your argument is that, however, kahit daw ang spouses had been estranged and separated, yung legal spouse siya, tagal na sila, for 20 years hindi magkasama, and it was the verbal wish nung namatay na malibing siya doon sa museum ng common law partner niya, ang may karapatan to bury the remains belongs still to the legal surviving spouse. Ayan, to the surviving legal spouse. Kapag wala namang ebidensya showing a clear directive of the wishes from the deceased, ang wishes po ng deceased must be clearly provided. Kailangan talaga yung Hindi pwedeng yung verbal. Hindi pwedeng marites lang. Hindi pwedeng ganun, no? It must be clearly established. And i-explain ng Supreme Court, citing Dr. Arturo Tolentino, one of the greatest legal mind when it comes to civil law, no? He is a legal luminary. He's an authority on civil law. Sabi ng Supreme Court, Dr. Arturo Tolentino stated that the wishes of the deceased should be established by some form of testamentary disposition. So, ibig sabihin, may testamentary disposition, meaning to say that it must be through a last will and testament. Okay, pag meron pong klarong ganon, pwedeng i-respect ang wishes. Pero kung verbal lang, sabi ko sa inyo, libing talaga sa amin, hindi po pwede. Okay? So, take note of that, ha? There must be a clear and convincing evidence na may directive talaga of the wishes from the deceased. Okay. Now, meron pa isang last argument, no? Sabi niya, nakahimlay na yan, wag na lang siyang hukayin. Dapat hindi na hukayin at ilipat ang bangkay. Nananahimik na po yan siya. Sabi ng Supreme Court ganito. Alam mo, kung hindi natin hukayin, i-exhume at ilipat yan siya doon sa lugar ng surviving legal spouse, it does not only violate the right provided by law, but it also disrespect the family because the remains of the patriarch are buried in the family plot of his live-in partner. So, ibig sabihin, binayolate daw ang right under the law ng legal na spouse at also walang respeto. Kasi dapat doon talaga siya sa rightful family, which is the legal surviving spouse. Okay. And then, sabi pa ng Supreme Court that yung quasi-property kasi, sabi natin, although hindi property ang bangkay, pero similarly quasi-property siya, arising out of the duty of those obligated by law to bury their dead, also authorizes them to take possession of the deceased or the dead body for purpose of burial to have it remain in its final resting place. Number 2, or to even transfer it to a proper place where the memory of the dead may receive the respect of the living. Okay? So, having said that, the Supreme Court also said, this is a family right. Yun, maganda yung statement niyo ng Supreme Court, no? There can be no doubt that persons having this right may recover the corpse from the third person. So, ibig sabihin, i-allow talaga ang exhumation or yung paghukay sa bangkay at nilipat po doon sa cemetery po ng surviving legal spouse. Okay? Doon sa family nila. May mga anak man din sila sa una. So, doon po. Alright? So, yun po, no? This interpretation of the Supreme Court is actually considered as a law because it de-interpret the law, no? The Supreme Court, it interprets the law. It informs part of the law of the land. Their statements in decisions like this, especially in bank, it forms part of the law of the land. So, having said that, my point here is that before embarking to a new journey in life and in situations like this na meron ka pang parang sabit in a sense na hindi pa natatapos, mayroon ka unfinished business, unfinished affair, finish your affairs first. Paano mag-finish? Simple lang naman. You file an annulment or nullity of marriage or even separation of property for that purpose. You execute a proper last will and testament para maklaro kung anong directive mo before you embark to a new journey, before turning a new leaf or turning a new chapter in life, no? Bago, hindi ka man masaya first, okay, pero tapusin mo. Igawan mo talaga ng legal na paraan na para mag-end yung relationship by annulment, nullification of marriage, or yung legal separation for that matter, and even the complete separation of property. Yun po ang tama. That is the right thing to do, and that is the kind of person that who thinks for the future that wala siyang iiwan na magulo after his death. Okay? So, thank you. Tapos na pong Halloween. And danke, sukran. I'll see you soon again. next time. Thank you for watching.